Hey, what's going on? What's going on, CoinOpTV subscribers? Robert Welkner here. We're going to do another live stream, live and interactive stream on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoinOpTV. Today's topic will be Watch Dogs, the brand new Ubisoft game there. Let me give you a little synopsis here. So Watch Dogs 2 is an open-world action-adventure video game developed by Ubisoft Montreal, published by Ubisoft. It's a sequel to 2014's Watch Dogs and was released November 15th. On the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows PC. We are live streaming. I see Connie and Toy Movie Gay Bros jumping in chat. Let me introduce my co-host for the day, CJ, who is one of CoinOpTV's long-running writers and contributors and video game producers. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Rob. How's it going today?
It's going well. We got some Watch Dogs gameplay. We wanna hear your thoughts and opinions. You've been playing the game for a few days now, and jumping into things, and we got some gameplay, and I'll give some shout outs to people. If anybody has questions about the game, let us know. If you guys are watching us on the archive as well, leave us some questions. And this is sort of a reviews in progress as we're trying to get CJ to sort of, these open world games, it's really hard to blast through, shall we say. How many hours would you say you've logged so far, thus far?
Oh, I've been playing most of the weekend, so hopefully around 8 or 10 at this point. It's you kind of get lost in games like that, so you don't really pay attention to how much you played because there's so much to do that it's not like, well, I made it through 85% of the super linear story. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot, just kind of wandering around and checking out the game world and playing some of the missions and just doing a little bit of everything because that's kind of how I play those open world games. I know there's probably some people out there that go right for the main stuff and then at the end they try to collect everything, but I kind of just go everywhere when I start playing these. So I've played quite a bit since it's come out, and I think I've got a good chunk of it in and ready to give some people at least a few impressions. I think people will enjoy the game so far. So yeah, it's a lot of gameplay there though.
Yeah, I've been having the same dilemma with I've been playing the Skyrim remastered, and I'm like doing the main quests, and then you see something that sidetracks you, and you get it's easy to get sidetracked. So sounds like you're liking the game. We have some gameplay here, and so let me show some gameplay. So let's talk about kind of the setting now. We're in San Francisco this time around.
Yeah, and it's I like it a lot better than I think Chicago was the first game, and in Chicago, it was nice. I mean, there was that whole issue when they first revealed it that it looked way better than it ended up looking when they launched it and all of that controversy. But I think just the first game itself was a little more dreary and a little darker and kind of less colors, a little more muted. I feel like this one, they've kind of gone the opposite direction where San Francisco, there's a lot of color, a lot of vibrance. Just everything looks just more, it's more sunny, I guess. The first game just really felt like kind of dreary, and I think the story kind of followed that as well. But this game, they kind of turned a complete direction and made it much more bright and vibrant and colorful, and the story kind of represents that. It's a little more, a little more fun and not as super serious as the first game was. So I really enjoy that because it's not a depressing game to play, I guess. Some of those games you can only play a couple hours when it's dark and like muted color palettes, and it gets to you eventually. But this one's really nice. They got a lot of color and it looks really great on the PS4 Pro that I'm playing it on right now. I think it looks good pretty much anywhere you play it, so I don't think you're gonna have a problem there. But yeah, a lot of colors, very nice looking world.
Is this a game so CJ actually has a PlayStation 4 Pro. Is this something that takes advantage of the HDR and anything like that?
I don't know if they have HDR in there yet, but they definitely have some upgraded textures, and I think the frame rate's they finally stabilized that. I know there were a few issues with a few games where on the Pro the frame rate was a little worse because they were trying to push more, but it seems to be pretty good here. I've played a handful of hours and I hadn't run into really any technical issues, so it looks really nice and crisp. So I think they're taking advantage of that checkerboard 4K where it's better resolution than your standard 1080p TV, but it's not quite full 4K, but it definitely looks better than it would normally. I mean, there are other games like Titanfall and that have a very singular, campaign. Those are obviously going to look a little better than open world games, but I'd say overall this looks pretty good.
All right, all right. We got a few more people jumping in chat. Shout outs to Game God, FC203, Chris, Kevin, a few others. If you guys have questions, concerns about Watch Dogs 2, let us know. That's what we're talking about. All right, so let's show some more gameplay. Let's talk about the game mechanics. Did you play the first Watch Dogs at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So how does this compare to the the gameplay and the gaming mechanics? Have things been has hacking been simplified?
I think it's fairly close to what the first game was. I think the movement is where they've made the most changes, and this one you feel a little bit like you can move a little better, so you can do some of the parkour, and they've kind of integrated a little bit of their Assassin's Creed stuff to where you can kind of climb up buildings and kind of move. You just move better. It's not as clunky. The cover mechanics are still fairly similar. I think if I had one issue with the movement, it would be those, because they're a little sticky. When you're trying to, stealth around, you kind of get stuck trying to get off of cover. It'd be nice if they did something more like Last of Us, where you kind of walked up and it was contextual cover, and it just kind of lets you go in and out of cover at ease. But overall, I think the systems for movement are fairly similar, but you definitely have a little bit more mobility in this game, climbing and stuff.
All right, we're watching you run through, looks like San Francisco. Well, it is in San Francisco, stuff like that. How about the, I seem to remember liking the driving in the first Watch Dogs game. The way the driving was pretty smooth and stuff. How's the driving? I know you're sort of running in this, but have you jumped into any cars and raced around the city?
Yeah, and I think a little bit later in the video there is some of that, but the driving I think it's pretty good. It's not the best. I think games like Grand Theft Auto and the newer one especially have a better feel to the driving mechanics. This one, your car is pretty light and squirrely, so if you get going way too fast, it's pretty easy to lose control of it. But it's not something where it's going to drive you crazy playing the game. So it's I think it works pretty well, and definitely stuff like motorcycles and that seem to work really well to get around the city quickly. The other nice thing is you can pretty much fast travel to all of like the stores, so where you buy clothing and stuff. So if you have a mission on the other side of the city, you don't necessarily have to spend 20 minutes driving over there. You can fast travel to a point close and then just kind of make your way. So that kind of takes a little bit of that out of it, but overall, yeah, I think the driving mechanics are decent enough for an open world game.
So what was sort of your impression? The thing, I've been watching some video interviews, reading some stuff. People are like, this one is more lighthearted. It's I wouldn't say cartoony, but it's definitely seems like the impression is like lighthearted, more of a fun factor. Are you getting that sort of vibe compared to the first Watch Dogs game?
Yeah, and that seems to be hit or miss for people. I like it quite a bit. It's a little more, I guess you'd say, cheesy. It's kind of, it's got the internet culture behind it, as opposed to the first game where I think it was your niece died and it was this kind of dreary, depressing game. This one's more, like I said, more colorful, and that shows through in the plot where, you play this hacker group, and I kind of put it similar to the TV show Mr. Robot, if anybody's ever watched that. It's kind of got this collective group of hackers, and they have, the internet memes and stuff, and it's kind of cheesy, but if you kind of just let it roll with itself, I think it does work pretty well, because it's a little bit more lighthearted and fun, and the missions kind of represent that, where you're, stealing stuff from tabloid reporters and downloading new music to leak to the press and stuff. So it really ties into kind of the overall culture today a little bit more than the first one did. So it's a pretty different directional change, though, for what they did to the first game to now.
We're watching you. Speaking of cars, I went back to the gameplay and stuff. It looked like you jumped in the car and just like went right over. You got a trophy for third time's the charm. Was that Lombard Street in San Francisco? The crooked street there?
I kind of just ramped to that whole thing. So,
yeah, is that what that is? Is that the Cricket Street in San Francisco there? I think it's Lombard or something like that.
Yeah, I just kind of came upon that by accident. I was looking for the phone, so that in that video I'm kind of looking around for these different phones to hack as part of a side mission, and that one showed up on my map, so I'm watching my map, and I turn a corner and go right over top of that giant hill, so...
That's funny. Yeah. You got an achievement just accidentally for that, I guess. Right?
Yeah. So that stuff pops up, and it's pretty accurate to San Francisco from what I can tell. And it's not going to be street by street, but they did similar with Chicago. It was, the main points were there. You could get around to different places you've heard of or seen or been to if you've been to the cities. So It's pretty good, and it's a pretty easy map to traverse around, and it's definitely really big as well. So.
So how's the AI this time around? I was watching some video of somebody, and they were just like punching and murdering somebody, and there was like a clerk, like 2 inches away, that was just like, no big deal or something like that. Are you finding the environment is true to life? Is the AI reacting to things happening?
I would say they're all right. It's not. I mean, open world games. I always feel like you give a little bit more leeway on how AI reacts. This game, they will come search for you, and like in missions, if you tip them off, or if they see you have this little drone that you can drive around on the ground, and if they see that, they'll run up and kick it. And they're not amazing though. You can clearly kind of sneak your way around where they should hear you at some point, and they don't. And it's pretty easy to kind of work your way through all the missions. But as far as people on the street, they'll react to a few things you do here and there, but I don't think it's quite as interactive as a game like Grand Theft Auto was, where if you did something, everybody would freak out. But it's good. I mean, it's an open world game, so you're not looking for Last of Us style AI where these guys are just killing you every 5 seconds. So I think overall it works. And if people need a little bit more challenge, they can always bump up the difficulty for that kind of thing as well.
We're watching you on a little motor scooter there. Look, you just went up and robbed the motor scooter, and somebody was standing 2 feet away, and they just like didn't react or something. So
and sometimes they will call the cops on you. So every now and then, if you steal something, they'll call the cops, and you got to get out of the area quick. So
what has been like some of the highlights so far? Kind of the wow factor, the OMG kind of stuff. If that has there been any of that kind of stuff so far in Watch Dogs 2?
I just think overall some of the missions are a lot of fun. Like I said, there's one I did the other night where you had to go to this guy's house and hack into his house and steal a brand new music album before it came out, and then you went and leaked it to a member of the press. And there's just there's a lot of different mission types that kind of are different than your normal open world game. So I think overall that's probably been the best thing. And the characters are, like I said, they're a little cheesy, but once you get past that, it is a pretty interesting game and kind of fun just to have it a little more lighthearted than the first game was, for sure. So
are you going to take on the apparently Ubisoft's headquarters in San Francisco is in the game? You can go in there and do some hacking in there. Do you get a trophy or achievement or anything for doing that? Do you know?
I haven't actually found that yet, but I did hear that if you do get in and hack them, there's a trailer that comes up for an unannounced game that looks like it might be announced at either the Video Game Awards this year or E3 next year. But that's pretty interesting that they put that in there and let you kind of added a little hidden secret. So I'll probably go try to find that here pretty soon and see what happens when you do.
So I asked you about the wow factors, the OMGs. What about the disappointments? Is there something you're just like, I can't take this anymore? Too many cutscenes, too many hackers with crazy stud masks on their face that you're encountering, anything like that kind of turning you off?
I'd say the only downsides really are there could be more people in the city just wandering around. It seems a little empty. And then different things you do, like you can just run around and hack everybody. So you just drive down the street, and you probably see a little bit of that in the video. I'm just running down the street, hitting each person I go by and stealing money or getting upgrades from them. And it's kind of, it gets kind of to be a little much. It's like in real life, you're not going to run down the street and have somebody hacking somebody's cell phone from 10 feet away and everybody on the street you steal money from. So some of that, I think they could curtail a little bit, but it's not too terrible.
So you're saying that too much hacking is a negative in Watch Dogs 2? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, maybe the general hacking, the mission hacking and stuff like that, where you go up to houses or you go into missions and try to hack the cameras and kind of move things around, and I like that a lot. I just think having every single person on the city street you can run by and just hack them is a little kind of crazy at times, because then I do feel like I did that more than anything. You just start driving around the city and you just hit hack like repeatedly, just to try to get as much money as you can. So it kind of can get a little overwhelming if you're kind of a completionist. You're like, oh, I got to hack every single person.
maybe if assuming Watch Dogs 3 comes out, maybe like the battery on your hacking device dries up over time, or something that maybe kind of cools it down, so you're not just like hacking the entire time. Maybe that would sort of help with the next game.
They could even make some people harder to hack than others, and give you like, there's certain people in the world that have really big secrets that if you find them you could hack them, and it's kind of hard to do, and it's this own side mission structure. And I think there are some things they could do with the general pedestrian population that in this game they're kind of just there wandering around just as hacking people, and that's about it. So they don't really offer anything other than that.
So is there any, before we wrap this up, is there any callbacks to Watch Dogs 1? Do you need to be a fan or have played Watch Dogs 1 to get in and enjoy Watch Dogs 2?
There's a few little pieces here and there, but there's nothing major to where you're going to be confused if you haven't played the first one. I'd recommend playing this one over the first one, I think. So that they do reference, the first one was set in Chicago, so they reference the Chicago branch of DedSec, which is the operative you're part of. But they don't, so far, they haven't really mentioned the main character from the last one or anything like that. So definitely, if you haven't played the first one, don't worry about it. Just jump right into this one. You'll be fine.
All right, cool. Watch some driving here. I'm just looking over at my notes and see. Have you? I guess the big controversy is naked people. Have you gone to the nude beach? Encountered any naked people at all?
I have not yet, and it is rated for nudity on the box. So I mean, as long as they're free and open with that, and aren't just making all the women naked or something like that, I guess whatever. That controversy I think is a little overblown as an M-rated game, but I have not just run into a bunch of naked people running around, so they're not everywhere.
Apparently, there's some like nudie beach or something that you can go to, and they're like naked walking around. So here's my dare: if you go to the nude beach and you're playing the game, take off all your clothes in your living room, or you make sure you're in the privacy of your house. Get into the whole vibe of the nude beach, and go exploring. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Make sure you close your windows for that.
Yes. Make sure you have some privacy. We got Ethan and Lewis in chat. Ethan says, "Is it hard flying the drone?" So let me ask you about that. We got the flying the drones. We got the little RC cars and stuff like that. What's that like? Is it challenging? Are those fun to do?
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're not hard at all to drive around, and they do help you because on a lot of those missions you have to infiltrate places. You can kind of set up outside of the mission zone and just send one of your drones in, whether it's the one, the little RC car drone or the flying one, and you can do all of your hacking from those drones. So some missions you can complete just by driving that little thing around. They've built the levels in such a way that you can drive under floorboards and around things. So it is a viable option, and so they're really easy to drive, and they work pretty well. They basically work just like if your character was running around hacking inside there. So it's pretty much the same controls and everything to hack, and there's different things you can do with each of them, but they do add a lot to the gameplay. So I'm really glad that they did add them in this one as opposed to the first one. So I think they work pretty well. They're really easy though.
All right. Let's see. In chat, Robert Mitchell says, "I always play Skylanders naked." Me too. And FC in chat says that Aiden is in Watch Dogs 2. Have you come across that as a mission or anything like that?
I haven't run into him yet, but like I said, I haven't got all the way through it. There's a lot of content, and I kind of play sporadic, where I'll do a bunch of open world stuff and then a few story missions. So I'm sure if he's in there, I'll run across him eventually.
All right. Well, CJ will actually be working on the full review for the website. We put our full reviews on the CoinOpTV website. This was just sort of a first impressions, hands-on. We're getting knee deep into the game and hacking our way through, literally. So thanks a bunch, CJ. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Deadly Cyclone, and if you guys have post live questions, let us know in the comments below. We'll try and answer those as we can. So I guess that's it for this video. Thanks a bunch. Shout outs to all you guys and girls watching live. Hope you guys having a great weekend for CoinOpTV. We'll see you next time.